Fight for your dreams, not because life is easy, but because life is worth living with purpose. Many people believe that dreams belong only to the lucky, the healthy, the powerful, or the privileged. But education teaches us something different. It teaches us that dreams belong to those who are willing to learn from pain, reflect on failure, and grow through struggle. Dreams are not gifts handed to us. They are responsibilities we must carry, even when our hands are shaking. Life will test you in ways you never signed up for. Sometimes the test comes as loss, sometimes as disability, sometimes as rejection, and sometimes as silence when you expected support. But education is not only found in books and classrooms, it is also found in suffering. Every hardship teaches you patience. Every fall teaches you balance. Every tear teaches you empathy. When you understand this, you stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? Fighting for your dreams does not always mean standing up and shouting. Sometimes it means sitting quietly and refusing to give up. Acceptance is often misunderstood. Acceptance does not mean you stop dreaming. It means you stop fighting reality and start working with it. When you accept who you are and where you are, your energy shifts from self-pity to self-growth. Education helps us realize that self-awareness is the foundation of transformation. Many students believe that success is about speed, finishing first, reaching early, winning fast. But real learning teaches us that success is about direction, not pace. If your journey is slow, it does not mean it is wrong. If your path looks different, it does not mean it is inferior. Dreams do not expire because of delay. They only fade when we stop believing in our ability to learn, adapt, and rise again. Your body, your background, your past mistakes, none of these can cancel your dreams unless you allow them to. Knowledge empowers you to separate facts from fears. Fear says, you cannot. Education replies, you can learn how. When you invest in learning about skills, about life, about yourself, you turn wounds into wisdom and obstacles into opportunities. Fighting for your dreams also means educating your heart. Be kind to yourself on days when progress feels invisible. Be proud of yourself for surviving what others never saw. And remember, dreams are not only about becoming something big, sometimes they are about becoming someone brave, someone compassionate, someone whole. So fight for your dreams, not with anger, but with patience, not with comparison, but with confidence, not with desperation, but with faith in your ability to grow. Because when you choose to learn from life instead of giving up on it, you don't just achieve your dreams. You inspire others to believe in theirs too. Pain is not the end of your story. And you need to hear this slowly, clearly, and deeply, because when pain arrives, it convinces you that everything is over. It speaks loudly, it fills your thoughts, it sits heavy on your chest, and it tells you that this moment will define you forever. But pain is a chapter, not the whole book, and wisdom is born exactly where comfort ends. Every lesson that truly changes a person comes wrapped in discomfort, because ease never teaches you how strong you really are. When life hurts, your first reaction is resistance. You ask why this happened, why now, why you? That reaction is human, but staying there is optional. Pain is not meant to destroy you, it is meant to reveal you. It strips away illusions, fake confidence, borrowed strength, and leaves you face to face with yourself. And that moment, as terrifying as it feels, is where education truly begins. Not the kind you memorize, but the kind you become. Pain teaches you awareness. It slows you down when you were rushing blindly. It forces you to listen when you were ignoring signs. It trains your emotional intelligence, showing you what matters and what never did. You learn empathy not from success but from suffering. You learn patience not from winning but from waiting. And you learn resilience not from applause but from silence. These are lessons no classroom can fully teach, yet they are the most valuable ones you will ever carry. Do not rush to escape pain without understanding it. If you only try to forget it, you repeat it. If you choose to study it, you rise above it. Ask yourself what this pain is shaping inside you. Stronger boundaries, deeper faith, clearer priorities, a softer heart, or a sharper focus. Pain reshapes you, but wisdom decides the final form. That choice is yours. Many people break because they treat pain as punishment. But what if it is preparation? What if this pressure is building a version of you that could not exist otherwise? You were never meant to remain untouched. Growth requires friction. Diamonds do not apologize for pressure, and neither should you. Every scar carries information. Every setback carries insight. Every tear carries truth. Stop measuring your life by how little it hurts, and start measuring it by how much you learn. The strongest people are not those who avoided pain, but those who walked through it without letting it harden their hearts. Let pain make you wiser, not bitter. Let it sharpen your understanding, not steal your hope. Because one day, you will look back and realize the moment you thought broke you was the moment that educated you for life, prepared you for purpose, and quietly turned your pain into power. Dreams do not ask you to be perfect. They ask you to be brave, and there is a big difference between the two. Perfection waits for the right time, the right conditions, the right version of you, while courage moves forward even when your hands are shaking and your heart is unsure. If you keep waiting to feel ready, you will wait forever. Because readiness is not a feeling, it is a decision. Courage begins the moment you say, I will try, even if I fail, even if I am afraid, even if I don't know how this will end. Most people delay their dreams not because they lack talent, but because they fear judgment. They want approval before action, certainty before effort, applause before progress. But dreams grow in silence long before they are celebrated in public. Courage means choosing your vision over other people's opinions. It means understanding that criticism is not proof of your weakness. It is proof that you dared to move. Education teaches us that every meaningful discovery was once doubted, every breakthrough was once laughed at, and every successful person was once misunderstood. You don't need a flawless plan to begin. You need an honest intention and the courage to take the first step. Mistakes are not evidence that you are failing. They are evidence that you are learning. Each attempt teaches you something that success alone never could. When you allow yourself to be imperfect, you give yourself permission to grow. Fear wants you to believe that failure will end you. But wisdom reminds you that failure is a teacher, not a verdict. Courage also means continuing when motivation disappears. There will be days when your passion feels quiet, when progress is slow, and when your dream feels too heavy to carry. Those days are not a sign to quit, they are a test of commitment. Dreams are not built on excitement alone. They are built on discipline, patience, and the courage to show up consistently. Education trains the mind to understand that long-term success is created through small, repeated actions, not sudden bursts of inspiration. Stop comparing your beginning to someone else's middle. That comparison kills courage and feeds insecurity. Your journey is meant to teach you lessons that no one else needs. Trust the pace of your learning. Courage is deeply personal. It looks different on everyone. For some, it is speaking up. For others, it is starting over. For some, it is resting instead of giving up. All of it counts. When you choose courage over perfection, you stop asking, what if I fail, and start asking, what if I grow? You stop shrinking yourself to fit expectations and start expanding into your potential. Dreams reward those who are willing to be seen trying, stumbling, learning, and standing up again. Be brave enough to begin, brave enough to continue, and brave enough to believe that you do not need to be perfect to be powerful. Acceptance is often mistaken for giving up, but in reality, it is one of the strongest decisions you will ever make. Surrender says, I am done. Acceptance says, I am aware. When you accept your reality, you stop wasting energy fighting what already exists and start using that energy to build what can exist. Resistance drains you, acceptance empowers you. This is not weakness, this is wisdom learned through awareness, a ND education of the self. So many people exhaust themselves wishing life were different, instead of learning how to live fully within what is. Acceptance does not mean you approve of pain, injustice, or limitation. It means you acknowledge the truth of the moment so you can respond intelligently rather than emotionally. Education teaches us that clear understanding always comes before effective action. Until you accept where you are, you cannot move forward with clarity. Acceptance gives you emotional stability. When you stop arguing with reality, your mind becomes quieter and your focus sharper. You begin to see options instead of obstacles. You stop asking why this happened and start asking what now. That shift is powerful. It moves you from victimhood to responsibility. And responsibility is not blame, it is ownership of your response. You may not control what happened to you, but you absolutely control how you grow from it. Accepting yourself is equally important. Many people fight who they are instead of discovering who they can become. They reject their past, their scars, their differences, thinking these things disqualify them from dreaming. But education of the heart teaches that self-rejection blocks growth, while self-acceptance creates confidence. When you accept yourself, you stop performing for validation and start living with authenticity. That authenticity becomes your strength. Acceptance does not make you passive. It makes you strategic. When you understand your limitations, you can work around them. When you understand your strengths, you can build on them. Acceptance gives you direction. It allows you to create goals that are aligned with reality. Fantasy. And aligned goals are achievable goals. Some of the strongest people in the world are those who accepted a reality they never wanted and still chose hope. Acceptance teaches resilience. It teaches patience. It teaches humility. These qualities are not signs of defeat, they are signs of maturity. Education is not just about gaining knowledge. It is about learning how to live wisely, even when life does not make sense. Stop measuring strength by how loudly you fight, and start measuring it by how calmly you adapt. There is power in saying, "This is where I am, and I will still move forward." Acceptance does not close doors. It shows you which ones are real. When you stop denying reality, you stop being stuck in it. You begin to rise from it with clarity, confidence, and a deep inner strength that no circumstance can take away. Education is incomplete if it only sharpens the mind and ignores the heart. You can have degrees, skills, and knowledge, yet still feel lost, broken, or empty inside. True learning happens when intellectual growth and emotional healing walk together. When one is missing, imbalance appears. A trained mind without a healed heart becomes arrogant or cold, while a sensitive heart without understanding becomes overwhelmed and confused. Balance is what creates wisdom. From a young age, you are taught how to solve equations, memorize facts, and chase achievements. But rarely are you taught how to process pain, handle failure, or sit with difficult emotions. That is why so many intelligent people struggle silently. Education should teach you how to think, but healing teaches you how to live. When both exist together, you become resilient, compassionate, and grounded. Healing the heart does not mean avoiding pain, it means understanding it. Emotional education begins when you allow yourself to feel without judgment. Suppressed emotions do not disappear, they wait. They show up later as anger, fear, anxiety, or self-doubt. When you learn to name what you feel, you gain power over it. Awareness is education. Emotional literacy is strength. The moment you understand your inner world, you stop being controlled by it. A healed heart improves learning. When you are emotionally safe, your mind becomes open. Fear blocks creativity. Shame blocks confidence. Unhealed wounds block focus. Healing removes these barriers and allows knowledge to flow freely. That is why self-care is not selfish, it is strategic. Taking time to reflect, rest, and reconnect with yourself strengthens your ability to grow intellectually and professionally. Education also teaches empathy when paired with healing. When you understand your own struggles, you become more patient with others. You listen better, you judge less. You lead with humanity instead of ego. This is how real leaders are formed, not by titles, but by emotional intelligence. A person who understands both knowledge and compassion can inspire, guide, and uplift others. Do not ignore your heart while training your mind. Your emotions carry information just as valuable as logic. When something hurts, it is teaching you something. When something excites you, it is guiding you somewhere. Learn to listen. Learn to reflect. Learn to heal. Growth is not only about adding more information. It is about removing inner blocks that prevent you from using what you already know. The world does know. Need more people who are only smart. It needs people who are wise, kind, and emotionally aware. When education and healing work together, you become whole. You stop surviving and start living with intention. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop proving and start becoming. A strong mind will take you far, but a healed heart will make the journey meaningful and sustainable. Your limitations are real, but they are not final. And the moment you confuse the two, you start living smaller than you were meant to. Everyone has limits of some kind, physical, emotional, financial, social, but potential is not measured by what you lack, it is revealed by how you respond. Limitation is a condition, not an identity. The danger begins when you let a circumstance introduce itself as who you are. People often build their self-image around what they cannot do instead of what they are still learning to do. They say, I am not smart enough, not strong enough, not confident enough, not lucky enough. But education teaches growth, not labels. Every skill you admire was once undeveloped. Every strength you respect was once fragile. Potential is not a fixed trait, it is a process, and processes require time, effort, and belief. Limitations force creativity. When the straight road is blocked, you discover side paths. When one door is closed, you learn how to build your own. History is full of people who achieved greatness, not because they had fewer limits, but because they refused to let limits decide the outcome. Their power came from adaptation, not advantage. When you stop wishing for an easier life and start building a stronger self, everything changes. Your limitation may dull you down, but it can also sharpen you. It teaches focus. It teaches strategy. It teaches discipline. When you cannot rely on ease, you rely on effort. When shortcuts disappear, commitment grows, and commitment builds character. Education shows us that mastery is not talent multiplied, it is persistence sustained. Stop comparing your behind-the-scenes struggle to someone else's highlight reel. Comparison magnifies limitation and hides potential. Your journey is custom-made to teach you something specific. What feels like a weakness today may become the very reason someone listens to you tomorrow. Your scars carry credibility. Your struggle carries authority. Do not underestimate the power of lived experience. Potential grows when you take responsibility for what is in your control. You may not control your starting point, but you control your direction. You control your work ethic. You control your mindset. You control whether you show up again after failing. That is where real power lives. Not in perfection, not in comfort, but in consistency. Believe this deeply, you are allowed to dream even with limits. You are allowed to aim high even when your path is uneven. Progress does not require ideal conditions, it requires honest effort. Every step you take rewrites the story your limitations tried to tell you. And the moment you choose growth over self-doubt, your potential stops being a theory and starts becoming visible in the way you think, act, and rise every single day. Fighting for your dreams is not a one-time decision, it is a daily choice you make even on the days when hope feels tired. People often think hope is a feeling that appears automatically when life is good, but real hope is a discipline. It is something you practice when circumstances try to convince you otherwise. Every morning you wake up, life asks you a question. Will you give up quietly or will you choose to believe again? And every day you answer through your actions. There will be days when nothing works, when effort goes unnoticed, when progress feels invisible. On those days, hope will not feel inspiring, it will feel exhausting. But that is exactly when it matters most. Choosing hope does not mean denying reality. It means refusing to let reality steal your vision. Education teaches us that consistency creates results, not intensity. Small choices repeated daily shape destiny more than dramatic moments ever could. Hope grows through action. You do not wait to feel hopeful to move forward. You move forward to create hope. Every step you take, no matter how small, sends a message to your mind that you are still in the fight. Discipline is hope in motion. When you show up again after failing, you are practicing belief. When you keep learning despite setbacks, you are protecting your dream. Fighting for your dreams also means learning how to rest without quitting. Burnout kills hope faster than failure. Rest is not weakness, it is maintenance. You are allowed to pause, to breathe, to recover, but do not confuse rest with retreat. Education of the self teaches balance. You must know when to push and when to heal. Sustainable hope is built on self-respect, not self-punishment. Some days choosing hope will look loud and confident. Other days it will look quiet and stubborn. It will look like getting out of bed when you want to disappear. It will look like studying when you feel behind. It will look like believing in yourself when no one else does. That kind of hope is powerful because it is private. It does not need applause to survive. Hope also means releasing timelines. When you attach your belief to deadlines, you turn growth into pressure. Trust that learning is happening even when results are delayed. Seeds grow underground before they ever break the surface. Just because you cannot see progress does not mean it is not happening. Education reminds us that development is often invisible before it is obvious. Every day you choose hope, you are voting for your future. One vote does not decide everything, but repeated votes create certainty. When you refuse to give up on yourself, you teach your mind resilience. When you choose belief over bitterness, you protect your purpose. Keep choosing hope, not because it is easy, but because it is necessary for becoming who you are meant to be. And that quiet decision, repeated daily, is how dreams survive, grow, and eventually stand in front of the world as proof that you never stop believing.